Last time on Jedi Dropouts, our unlikely heroes set out to rank the movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and now find themselves ambushed and left for dead on a desolate and deserted planet. Could this truly be the end for the Dropouts? Will they find a way out of their imminent and dastardly demise, or will they just talk about movies and make dumb jokes? Find out on another thrilling episode of Jedi Dropouts!
Hello and welcome back to Jedi Dropouts. I am James Moss.
And I'm the other one, also known as Ryan Taylor. We're
I
back.
thought we were the same one.
What was that?
I thought we were the same one.
We could be, I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. We're back again with our second part of our Marvel Cinematic Universe rankings.
That's part two.
Part
for those
two.
who are trying to keep track.
That's about as high as I can count anyway.
Yep.
But before we even touch on any of those movies, we have to talk about a little something that dropped today, finally. The trailer for Avengers Infinity War.
I thought we were talking about the ice cream was spilled on the floor.
We can? Did you spill ice cream on the floor?
A little bit, but I mean, my parents were visiting. Mom cleaned it off. God love her.
Okay, well, we're all good then.
We're all caught up on that. Now back to the trailer.
Actually, speaking of things falling on the floor, you want to hear how my life has become a bad Christmas comedy?
Always.
I was talking to you about recording, and I recorded the intro you just heard for this, and then I went to wash dishes, and as I picked up the first dish, our bookshelf collapsed, and the top half fell on our Christmas tree and Christmas gifts.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing unfold. It was terrifying, and much like a movie you would see starring Tim Allen or Matthew Broderick around the holidays. A couple small decorations were broken. Bookshelf obviously did not survive. And the Christmas tree is looking a little rough, but otherwise we're okay. The dog's fine.
Well, that's the most important thing.
Books all survived. Gifts are fine. It was pretty crazy. So between that and the Infinity War trailer, it's been a hell of a day.
Yup.
So let's get on to that trailer. Where do we even start? It's fucking insane. This movie looks crazy.
Yes. I saw a few people online saying that, like they were underwhelmed with the trailer, and I was like, who the fuck are you?
I don't know what else you want. I think the best way to sum it up is that this looks like Marvel's version of Return of the King. Like those battle shots. This movie looks huge.
It does look huge, and it's cool that a lot of it looks to be taking place in the plains of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Like this big battle.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can see the whole Wakandan army. Speaking of that, did you notice who was on the front lines alongside, like, Cap and Black Panther and Hulk?
Black Widow?
Also, Nakia, Lupita Nyong'o's character from Black Panther.
Yeah.
She's, like, front and center. So I guess she's gonna be a big part of the Avengers coming up, by the looks of it.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see how big of a role she plays in the Black Panther film.
But
yeah, fucking Infinity War is only 6 months away.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man.
And between now and then, we have Star Wars and Black Panther.
Yep. Oh, and I have a ticket for Star Wars. I'm actually going to go see a movie.
Woo!
I'm very excited. This is going to be the first Star Wars movie I get to see in a theater since I saw The Phantom Menace. And we all know how that went.
Yeah. You know what? I like The Phantom Menace for the most part.
No comment.
There are things I would choose to cut out of it.
Like, most of it.
The pod racing ship.
Yeah.
It saddens me that it was we didn't get any Darth Maul after that. Like, he was only in that movie.
Yeah.
Because Darth Maul was hands down the best part of that movie.
You know what? This is a tangent better saved for our Star Wars ranking.
Yes.
Which
we are going to do.
Yeah, sooner than later. Infinity War, though. The Gauntlet. We finally see the Infinity Gauntlet.
We see the Infinity Gauntlet. Well, we've seen it before.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
in a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
but he's actually wearing it,
and it has Infinity Stones in it, and
it has 2 of them.
Yes. What do you think of all the stuff with Vision in this trailer? I mean, Paul Bettany's face was in the trailer. That has never happened before.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where they're going with that. Like, if that was kind of like a dream sequence, or if it was one of the 2 of them using, their abilities to make him look that way, or if maybe he just, had a different body or something. I'm interested to see where they're going with that. But they are furthering the relationship between Wanda and Vision.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yes, which, man, when shit happens to Vision, like when they take that Infinity Stone out of his head, Wanda is going to flip.
If it happens. We're
pretty sure it's going to happen.
It will, but I'm not entirely convinced by that trailer, because you see it being about to be taken out, and then you see the gauntlet, but it's not the same stone in the gauntlet, is it?
No.
Exactly, right? It's
2 different stones in the gauntlet.
Yeah.
But that scene in the movie could happen before they take the gem from Vision. Like,
I just think that was cut on purpose to make you assume that's where it happens, but I feel like maybe there's more to it.
Oh, there's definitely going to be more to it. It might not even happen until the 4th Avengers.
Yeah.
But it is definitely going to happen, and when it does happen, Wanda is going to lose her mind.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if maybe there's a way that Infinity Stone ends up in the gauntlet without killing Vision. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure.
Like, maybe that scene in the trailer is supposed to be a distraction, like a diversion, because maybe Vision's fine and somebody else is on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I do think somebody's gonna die in this movie for sure.
And that's what I've been trying to figure out. Who is going to die?
I think at least one character, maybe more. I really feel like
at least one.
I think Loki might be one of the ones to go. I
could see that.
And I think maybe Cap or Iron Man.
Then again, Loki is a world-class suck-up.
Yeah, that's true.
So once Thanos shows up, because Loki's already encountered Thanos.
Yeah.
in the first Avengers. So once Loki shows up, or once Thanos shows up and starts pimping around all over the place, Loki's probably going to be like, whoa, I need to kiss this dude's ass to save my own skin.
That's true.
And then, he'll probably, like, skulk in the background, like, waiting for an opportunity to do something that benefits him the most.
Yeah.
But it shows Loki holding up the Tesseract. Is that him offering it to Thanos, or is he just, like, holding it up and admiring it? Like, I don't know what he's doing there.
It's really, really interesting. There's a lot you can take from this trailer.
Yeah. Because when we see Thanos' gauntlet, there's 2 gems in it, and one of them is blue.
Yep.
Which could be the Tesseract converted into, like, a stone.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the big Rubik's Cube motherfucking thing isn't going to fit in his glove.
No.
So I don't know. Part of me wants to say it's going to be Tony. But part of me wants to say Steve.
I feel like one of them's going because both actors have been in this from... No, not quite day one. Robert Downey Jr. has been day one. Chris Evans, not that long after. I feel like they've both even talked about maybe retiring from this. So
I still think the best thing they could do is... Well, okay. As awesome as Rhodey is, people aren't going to be overly stoked if Tony dies and War Machine tries to take over the mantle of Iron Man.
No.
So stick Peter Parker in the suit and make Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Oh, shit, that's a good idea.
That is just me saying a dream that I would like.
Yeah.
But
speaking of taking up mantles, Steve Rogers no longer Captain America.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna make another Cap? Do you think maybe Bucky or Sam?
Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking, because, like, Steve is kind of, like, coming out of hiding, out of the shadows. He's got this beard. Like, his suit is all black now. Like,
yeah.
He's not wearing a mask. Like, a lot of the footage from the trailer, like, he's not holding a shield.
Nope.
So I think Cap is going to be the one to go down. And it showed both Sam and Bucky there. And I think either one of them would make a good replacement as Captain America.
Yep, I mean, they've both done it in the past, in the comics.
Exactly. And, like, we've seen Bucky using his metal arm as a shield in previous movies. We've seen Sam using his wings as a shield. They're both in this trailer. Like, I don't know which one I would like more, to be honest. Maybe I'd like Bucky to take over as Captain America, because I do enjoy Falcon doing the whole, like, flying around shooting thing.
Yeah. Maybe Sam will be the new Iron Man.
That would be cool.
He's already got experience flying around in metal suits and shooting shit. I mean...
Then you got Sam and Rhodey flying together.
Yeah, maybe you know.
They already fly around together, but both of them in similar suits flying around, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, the whole, like, bickering between Sam and Bucky, like, having, like, I don't know, you could have the two of them bickering over who gets to be the next Captain America type thing. Or you could finally have, like, the two of them, like, you know, burying the hatchet when one of them becomes the new Captain America with the other one's blessing.
Yeah.
We got our first glimpse of Spidey Sense.
Yes. I loved everything they did with Spider-Man in this.
Yes.
The Spidey Sense, the new suit.
Yes, the Iron Spider suit, by the looks of it.
Mm-hmm. And
he's getting chokeslammed by Thanos, though. Like,
yep.
You know, we are getting a Spider-Man sequel after this, so, like, you know, we've had one Spider-Man movie so far. They're not going to kill Spider-Man off yet.
No. That's something I really liked because throughout the comics and cartoons, some of my favorite Spider-Man fights are always Spidey versus a big, like, hulking, monstrous enemy. So finally seeing Tom Holland's Spider-Man against, I mean, Thanos isn't as big as some of the enemies he's fought in the past, but he's huge compared to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I thought it's just a cool scene. It just kind of reminded me of the cartoons a little bit.
Yeah. I'm just thinking now about the Infinity Stones. Space Stone is the Tesseract.
Yep. The other
Reality Stone is the Aether.
Okay, yep.
The Power Stone is the one that was in Guardians, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so it's... We haven't seen the Soul Stone yet, have we?
I don't remember offhand.
So that might be in Black Panther.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
But, so... The Mind Stone is yellow. And the Aether is red. So purple and blue are the ones he has in the gauntlet. So that is the Tesseract and the Power Stone from Guardians.
Yep.
So those are the two stones that we see Thanos put in the gauntlet in the trailer. So he gets the Tesseract from Loki. Not necessarily, like, given to him by Loki. Like, maybe he takes it by force, but... So he gets the Tesseract, which is being guarded by Loki. And he gets Power Stone from the Guardians. Well, from the Collector.
Yep. That sounds right to me.
And then it's the Soul Stone, which we haven't seen yet. The Eye of Agamotto. And the Soul Gem, or the Mind Gem, which is in Vision.
Awesome.
Yeah. Like, what else was in here? Honestly, on my first watch of the trailer, when I seen Proxima Midnight, one of the Black Order, throwing that spear at at Steve, the way, like, it was just a quick glimpse of her. I had to go back and watch it, well, many more times, but at first, she kind of looked like Ronan to me, and I was like, what? Ronan's back?
Yeah.
And on Earth? But then after rewatching and reading and whatnot, I found out it was Proxima Midnight, one of the Black Order, not Ronan the Accuser. That motherfucker dead.
Yep.
He
Anyway,
went boom.
That's all I gotta say about the Infinity War trailer. I loved it.
Yeah, I was having a discussion about the trailer and the contents of it earlier with someone, and they brought up something I thought was kind of interesting. We see Bruce next to the arm of the Hulkbuster.
Yeah.
And in Ragnarok, Bruce talks about, like, every time he turns into the Hulk now, there's more and more chance that he may never come back as Bruce. Like, Hulk has more and more control every time, and it's kind of like like, it used to be like when he was the Hulk, Banner would kind of be, like, in the back seat.
Yeah.
But now when he turns into the Hulk, it's like Banner's locked in the trunk.
Oh, okay.
And so, a friend of mine was saying, like, what if the part of the trailer where we see Bruce next to the Hulkbuster's arm, what if Bruce is helping Tony modify and improve the Hulkbuster armor in case he hulks out and isn't able to go back to Bruce? Like, what if he's helping upgrade the Hulkbuster armor to keep Hulk more in check?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool to see in the movie.
Yeah.
Plus, like, we had Wong and Tony and Steven, and who was the fourth there?
It was Bruce, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Bruce. So you had the four of them stood up together, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see the banter back and forth between Steven and Tony.
Me too. Two
oh, that's going to be so good.
two former Sherlocks.
This is also true, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Plus, Watson isn't...
Yeah.
Didn't Mark Freeman play Watson?
Yeah, he did.
And he's in the MCU.
And now Jude Law is coming in Captain Marvel.
Holy shit.
You could end up with all of them on screen at once.
All we need now is Lucy Liu.
Okay. Let's
Alright.
let's get into
That's enough of that.
Okay. So today we're counting down our top 8 Marvel movies, because as we said on the last episode, we like to count things in 8s. And
yep.
So let's recap quickly our picks for the numbers 9 through 16. For me, I had Iron Man 2 at 16, Thor at 15, Thor the Dark World at 14, Iron Man 3 at 13, The Avengers at 12, Avengers Age of Ultron at 11, Captain America Civil War at 10, and the first Iron Man at number 9.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Yep.
Oh, you want me to do mine?
I figured that's what you were about to do. I was wondering why you were pausing so much.
No, I was being an idiot. My number 16, I had the first Thor movie. Number 15, Captain America, the First Avenger. Number 14, Iron Man 3. 13, Thor 2, The Dark World. 12, Iron Man 2. 11, Iron Man. 10, The Incredible Hulk. And number 9, The Avengers.
So a lot of movies in similar places. Obviously a couple we don't exactly agree on.
Yes.
And you went first last time, so I think this time I'll start us off.
Yes. I will say, since we recorded 16 through 9, I have rearranged a couple of my top 8 more than once.
Okay.
I've gone back and I've watched certain movies, and I've kept criticisms I've heard in mind and been a bit more critical while watching them.
Yeah,
and I have rearranged my list a little bit.
Fair enough. My 8 haven't changed too much. My number 3 and 4 have been hopping back and forth, and that's about it.
It's really only been my top 5 that have been rearranged.
Oh yeah?
6 through 8 have stayed the same.
Yeah, same for me. Okay. I'll start us off with one you've already said. I forget what number you said it at. I think it was maybe 10. I picked The Incredible Hulk.
Yes, that was my number 10.
Yeah, so my number 8, again, we're not far off here.
No.
One thing I will say about my top 8, I have very, very few complaints, if any, about these 8 movies. So, whereas from number 9 to 16, it was more so picking at the flaws, this is just going to be an episode full of praise, really.
I like positivity.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed this movie until I rewatched it within the last year, because shortly before we started this podcast, me and you had this conversation, and you were telling me how much you enjoyed the Hulk solo movie. And I was like, I don't remember much about it. I remember, so I went back and I rewatched it, and it's just a really good movie. Like, with all this MCU and all this this connected universe aside, it's just a really good movie straight through. And the way it poses Hulk as both the protagonist and sort of the villain of the movie, how we're following him as the hero, but the world is viewing him as the villain, is a really cool way to set up the movie. And I mean, it's the only time we got Edward Norton, Tim Roth as Abomination, and I forget the actual character's name. Do you remember it offhand?
Emil Blonsky.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you talking Tim Roth's character?
Yeah, Blonsky, right?
Emil Blonsky, yeah.
Yeah, he was great. He was a fucking awesome villain in both.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. And, like, he started off as just a serious threat, but then he started to become unhinged as the movie went on.
Yep.
And even, like, my favorite point is just before he becomes Abomination, the very tail end, when he is just, like, he wants nothing more than to destroy the Hulk. Like, Tim Roth is a hell of an actor, and it was a good pick for a villain in that one.
Yeah.
I also really like Liv Tyler. I mean, she doesn't do a whole lot, but when she shows up in a movie, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really have any complaints.
As good as Arwen.
Yeah. And even Armageddon.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Space rock movie.
Yeah. I don't really have any complaints. I haven't watched it as much as my top 7, but I don't really have any complaints, so I had to put it at least in my top 8.
Yeah. See, this list isn't about, like, criticisms. It's about what movies we could praise the most.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you got?
For number 8, I said Ant-Man.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I went quite a bit higher.
I assumed you did.
So are we going to do the same as last time and reveal, I guess, the same time?
I mean, we could.
Yeah. Might as well.
Sure.
I put Ant-Man at number 3.
Ooh.
I love
it. That is quite high.
I love Ant-Man. I really do.
I love this movie. I really do. I'm a mark for Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm a big Paul Rudd fan. It's funny. Like, the cast in this movie was great.
Oh, man.
Michael Pena was funny. Having T.I. in there, he was good.
Yep.
Michael Douglas.
Yep.
As Hank Pym. It was just a great movie.
One thing I really like about this movie, Corey Stoll is not that popular, but I'm a very, very big fan of Corey Stoll. And the fact that they cast him as Yellow Jacket in this, perfect.
Oh, he was great.
Love Corey Stoll.
Like, the action in this movie was great. Loads of comedy. The science stuff, like when he's blowing the vault when he first gets the suit, when he's breaking into Hank's house. Like, this movie is great. It's just, the only reason why I put it so low on my list is because when I say to myself, like, I'm in the mood to watch a Marvel movie. Yes, I do consider watching this one, but I don't watch it. I don't lean towards it as often as I do the rest of the movies in my top 8.
Fair enough.
I don't crave watching this movie as much as I crave watching the others.
Yeah, see, I watch Ant-Man more than I watch a lot of Marvel movies.
Oh, I've watched it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't watch it as much as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
And when I do watch it, it doesn't get me as excited as some of the other ones.
Yep.
Which, it's nothing against Ant-Man. I think it's an amazing movie. just, yeah. It's like pizza.
Yep.
Ant-Man is good pizza.
Yep, it sure
but
is.
Some of these other movies are like fantastic pizza.
Yeah, fair enough. I think maybe Ant-Man for me is good pizza that I just happen to like more than other people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I might mention a few more things about Ant-Man when it comes to that on my list. So my number 7, or unless you had anything else to add.
No, I'm good on Ant-Man.
I'm getting all the ones out of the way here that you've already touched on in the previous episode. So my number 7 was Captain America: The First Avenger.
That's pretty high on the list.
You had it at like 15 or something, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, see, this is one we just don't agree on. You had a lot of complaints about the pacing and the first half and like just some of the lack of action, I believe.
Yeah.
See, I have like no problems with this movie. I love this movie. I love this movie so fucking much. And I think a lot of it is I'm really big into movies that can nail a period, and just the way they present the sort of wartime propaganda and the use of Captain America as like a marketing tool. I really enjoyed those bits. Even like the scene you complained about with him dancing and selling war bonds. I actually love that scene.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
I don't know. So this movie is one I go back to, and
I will say that this movie did influence one of my fan casting choices in one of our upcoming episodes.
okay.
I cast someone in one of our future fan casting episodes largely because of their role in this movie.
Okay. I don't know if it's the same person you're talking about, but I'm just going to mention that Hugo Weaving as Red Skull is fucking awesome, and I think one of the best jobs Marvel's done with a villain yet.
Yes, and I would like to see somehow Red Skull come back.
Yeah, me too, because the job they did on Red Skull is too good to have in just like one movie.
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about this one a bit already, so I think that's most of what I have to say about that one. I know that I enjoy it way more than you do, and I think way more than a lot of people do, because it's not one of the more well-received Marvel movies.
No.
Okay, what do you got for number 7?
Number 7, I said Age of Ultron.
Okay, I had that at... what did I have that at? I think that was at number 11 for me.
Yeah.
Which, it almost made it as high as number 7. I don't disagree at all there. It was back and forth quite a bit.
I mean, James Spader's voice, like, even the trailer for this movie with the whole, like, got no strings on me,
Yeah.
like, it just gave me chills.
Yep. Yeah, Ultron is another one of those really great Marvel villains they did.
He's an amazing villain. I mean, it sucks that they had Tony invent him.
Yeah.
In this, instead of having it be, like, was it Hank Pym or Reed Richards that invented him in the comics?
I'm almost positive it was Hank.
Yeah. Who they did introduce later in the MCU.
Same year.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it would have been nice if they, didn't do that, but Tony's their golden boy, he's their cash cow, so,
Yep.
from a financial standpoint, it kind of made more sense. But either way, it doesn't take away how awesome James Spader was. It gave us a handful of new great characters like Wanda and Vision.
Yep. And briefly Quicksilver.
Yes. And, like, honestly, I got emotional at the end the first time I saw it when Quicksilver died.
Fair enough.
I honestly did, because I like speedsters. But, like, it showed us more into, like, Hawkeye's backstory, and it was just an amazing movie.
I think what they did with Quicksilver was actually pretty smart, because instead of trying to compete with what Fox was doing with Evan Peters as Quicksilver and have two existing Quicksilvers in two different film franchises, they literally just use him and his death to propel Scarlet Witch as a character.
Yes. And
it made sense to me.
Evan Peters' Quicksilver is, for many, many people, the highlights of the two movies he's in.
Oh, yeah. For me.
And me as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, people love the X-Men Quicksilver.
Yeah, it would be hard to compete with.
Yeah, it would be. Not saying that Aaron Taylor Johnson did anything bad, but, you know, he just wasn't as memorable of a Quicksilver.
No.
So I think you're right in saying, you know, it was smart to use him to propel his sister like they did.
Yeah, and realistically, Scarlet Witch is probably a more important Avenger to have.
Yes. And then, like, speaking of the other Scarlet in the movie...
Yeah.
We had the relationship between Black Widow and Bruce Banner.
Yep.
And which also gets touched on in Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
But, yeah, like, you know, she opens up about, like, the experiments they did on her and how she was sterilized as part of the, like, graduation ceremony type thing, and the two of them are connecting about how, like, they kind of both feel like monsters at times. Plus, we get our first glimpse of Wakanda.
Yep.
Which, before this, we had never even heard anything mentioned about Wakanda. Which
was there any mention of vibranium prior to this movie? Because that one kind of ties back.
Yeah, they mentioned it when they were talking about, like, Cap's shield, didn't they? Like,
yeah.
Just saying it was made out of, like, crazy metal, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But this one actually showed Wakanda.
Yeah.
When, yeah, because, like, the whole Hulk Buster fight, plus where they go and they're trying to interrogate Ulysses Claw.
Yeah, and
so I don't know. I felt like this movie, like, brought, like, it was a good movie, but it also set up a lot for the future of the MCU.
Oh yeah, there's so much setup in this movie.
Because it gave us a handful of characters that we still have. It gave us Ulysses Claw and showed him losing his hand, which is going to come back in Black Panther.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because he's going to be one of the major villains in that movie.
Yep.
And he has his prosthetic hand now that, you know, shoots the sound waves.
Yep.
So, yeah, like, just because of how good this movie is, plus the impact it had on the MCU moving forward, I had to put it this high on my list.
Hey guys, we're back. We had some technical issues when recording the episode last night. thinking it was probably a bad internet connection, and there was a lot of dead air and talking over each other, trying to deal with it, basically.
Yeah, Ryan was delayed on my end and sounded like he was underwater, so it was causing some confusion.
So we decided to cut it for the night and pick it back up here. This time I'm not going to be recording from my swimming pool, just for quality reasons.
Yeah, gotta put that lavish lifestyle on hold for a little bit.
Yeah, you know me. I'm all about that scuba, man.
Yeah.
So we're picking it up. Cut a little bit out because it wasn't up to our standards. It wasn't as entertaining as we want it to be. We kept what was good.
Yeah. Now that I finally have standards in my life, I kind of want to keep them.
So-called standards.
Yeah.
To some, maybe that's not the word they would use. So we're picking this up. As you guys just heard, and this is obvious to you guys, James just finished talking about his number 7 pick, Age of Ultron, and we're going to jump right back in there. So, it's not really a surprise to you anymore, James, because we did talk about a couple of these last night, but my number 6 pick is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And
which happened to be my number 2 pick.
Yes. Now, you've ranked it a lot higher than I did, but
yeah,
on my end, it is really not any criticism about that movie at all. It's just 5 movies I liked more, that's all. And, again, I've mentioned this last night. I feel like I might have even brought it up on an episode before. The only thing that throws me off about Doctor Strange is I'm not at all convinced by Benedict Cumberbatch's American accent. Like,
yeah.
Not for a second. I don't understand why they didn't just have Stephen Strange be from London. It doesn't take away from that character at all. The character's homeland or origin doesn't really affect it at all, especially with how they did that story.
It's not like Spider-Man or something like that, where like the neighborhood he's from plays into it.
Or Black Panther and Wakanda. It's nothing like that. It really doesn't matter where the fuck Stephen Strange is from, like, at all.
Yeah, like he's not like Cap and Spider-Man. They're like, hey, I'm from Queens. Hey, you're from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Type thing. You don't have that from Stephen Strange. Like, I, for the life of me, can't think of like where he originated from.
No, I'm assuming New York because that seems to be the hot spot for superheroes in Marvel. But that doesn't really take away from the movie that much. It's very, very minor, and I just feel like the movie would have been slightly better if he had kept his original accent. But the thing that's impressive about that is, even though I don't like the American accent he's doing, he still manages to convey an awesome Doctor Strange, and it's very rare that I see an actor pulling off an accent I don't like and still enjoy their performance.
Yeah.
So, all that aside, I mean, this movie did so much for Marvel in terms of bringing mysticism and magic into the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast is insanely good. Mads Mikkelsen, Tilda Swinton, Benedict Wong. I will once again attempt to pronounce it Chiwetel Ejiofor. I have no idea if that's right. And
like I said, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that because I respect the guy and I don't want to butcher his last name or either of his names. First name.
I will learn to pronounce it properly. If that's not it, I will get it. Anyway, he's Mordo. He's great, and just everything about this movie. The special effects works. The scene with Dormammu Everybody loves that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. You watch this
He's
movie.
An arrogant asshole, just getting humbled. It's great. Like I've said to you, the visuals I love.
Oh yeah.
Like I just get drawn to the edge of my seat with some of the visuals, like when the Ancient One is chasing Caecilius, and at the beginning, after they like chop the head off the guy and steal the ritual,
Yeah.
him and his zealots, like, and they're fighting on the side of the building, and everything's changing, like that. Just, I love it. And I would be lying if I said I hadn't like tried to imitate like the hand motions of like how he opens the Eye of Agamotto and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I get really caught up in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
like,
another
the whole
thing.
idea of being in this room, and if you go through like one door you're in London, another one you're in Tokyo, another one you're in New York, like that is so cool. Like I get really caught up in just like the wonders of this movie.
And that's something cool that they did as well. When did you like? Okay, let's go back a bit here now.
Yeah.
Even to, as previously mentioned in our Justice League review, remember when we were sitting down in Tim Hortons fan casting Justice League and just talking about the future of superhero movies? This was maybe post Avengers, although I don't even think it was that late.
Yeah.
It was around the Christian Bale Batman era, roughly around Avengers-ish. Did you ever think you would hear the words Eye of Agamotto or Dormammu in a big budget movie?
No, not at all.
Never. Could you even go back, to around the time where Avengers came out? Would you have ever imagined Doctor Strange getting his own movie? Like,
no.
Just to have him included in an Avengers movie would have been more than satisfying. But
I didn't think we were going to get any more Dormammu, like maybe in like video games and stuff, but like no on-screen Dormammu besides what we got in the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, right? Like, this movie does a lot of fan service. A lot of fan service.
And it's so good.
Honestly, like, through recording last night, and I mean, we've got a little further than this last night, and again today, no movie that we've talked about has made me want to go back and watch it again, like talking about Doctor Strange. I mean,
exactly. Like, I watched it just before we recorded yesterday, and if you asked me if I wanted to watch it again today, I would say yes.
I'm really, like, if I didn't have to go to work today, that's what I would be doing for sure now. Just from talking about it, you're making me like you're making me question where I have this ranked already. But no, I'm gonna stick with my guns. Number 6, because the top 5 are all fucking fantastic movies for me anyway.
That's part of what I enjoy about us, like, comparing these lists and rankings and stuff, though. Like, you made me question some of my rankings last time, and then I rearranged my list several times between, like, when we recorded the first part and when we started recording our top 8. I like that we can make each other question our rankings and, like, go back and watch stuff, and
it's cool. It's great that we can make compelling enough arguments to change the opinions of someone who thinks they already know and love a movie as much as they could, you know?
Sway someone a little bit on a movie.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll sway some listeners.
Maybe.
Probably not. What do you got for number 6? I asked, but I already know.
Number 6, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
And I had it at number 4. which is pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, like, both of them are fantastic movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't really have any complaints about this movie like, I said last night when we were recording that I feel like if they just dialed the Baby Groot stuff back from, 10 to 9, it'd be perfect, because it feels like they're maybe pushing it a little too hard for merchandising. But I still enjoyed Baby Groot a lot. Like, it's a very, very, very minimal complaint, if a complaint at all. Other than that, I don't know, the soundtrack wasn't as memorable as the first one. But the first one was one of the best soundtracks ever.
Yeah. I want to counter...
Set the bar just so high.
I want to counter your Baby Groot thing real quick.
Yep.
You said they're pushing it too hard for advertising?
Yeah, for merchandising, yeah.
For merchandising. We grew up in an age of the Ninja Turtles cartoon and Power Rangers, so I think they could push it for merchandising way more before we give up on this shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, let's be real, the Power Rangers only exist to sell toys. That is 100% of the reason. Love it or hate it, that's what it is. And I understand where you're coming from with Baby Groot, but for me, I actually enjoy Baby Groot way more than I expected to. I thought it was a joke that went on a little too long when I was watching the trailers, but the actual scenes that were in the movie that I hadn't seen, they were probably my favorite parts of the movie. Seeing how vicious Baby Groot could get, that was amazing. And I really, really enjoyed the prison joke of Yondu and Rocket locked in the cell, and I can't remember exactly what it was that they wanted Baby Groot to go get.
Yondu's fin, wasn't it?
Yes, the fin. There you go. And he kept bringing back the wrong shit. I love that joke. That killed me. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, it was a fantastic movie. I loved it. It made me laugh. It made me cry. I sat there in the theater with a smile on my face for most of the movie.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as memorable as the first one.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, fantastic movie. It just didn't make it as high on my list as the first one just because it wasn't as memorable.
Would you agree that maybe Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 would be ranked higher if the first one didn't exist?
Yes.
Like the first one sort of cast a bit of a shadow on the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's shoes to fill.
Yeah, it is. And granted, they did a fantastic job, better than most sequels, but it's still not quite as good.
Yeah.
By a smidgen.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And the thing is too, it's been out for since last spring, pretty much since we started the podcast, because it was around the same time. So it's still fairly new, and it could end up moving up or down with the addition of some time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting it for Christmas, so I'm gonna watch it a handful more times once I get it, and that may move it up the list for me a little bit.
I have something to admit. Of all the movies in my DVD and Blu-ray collection, I do not own a single movie from the MCU.
Wow.
I know. It's one of those things that I put off, I'll wait till a box set, or, that sort of thing. And now, suddenly there are 17 out now, I guess. And I'm like, oh shit. I think I waited too long. I don't know what to do.
Guardians Volume 2 is the only one I don't currently own.
Yeah.
But it came out on DVD during the time of year where I stopped buying DVDs for myself because my mother's like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And then I just start, like, any DVDs that come out that I would potentially buy for myself, I write down, give the list to Mom.
Yeah.
And whatever she doesn't get me for Christmas, I go out and buy for myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But Guardians Volume 2, Wonder Woman, these are DVDs I anticipate to be getting Christmas time, either as a gift or I will purchase myself.
Awesome. Well, moving on to our top fives.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. Top 5 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At least by the rankings of two guys who don't really have any sort of major standing in the geek world. They just have a podcast. Yep. They just like to talk shit.
No clout. Just our opinions.
Yep. Okay, my number...
We're not experts, we're just fans.
Yep, that's us. My number 5, and my number 1, I guess, of the Captain America movies, Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And I believe you had this one ranked pretty high as well.
Yeah, this Captain America: The Winter Soldier I had ranked as my number 1.
Number 1. And I can't really disagree. It's a fucking fantastic movie.
It is an amazing movie.
And as much as this is ranked on, like, this is ranked by personal preference, the movies I like the most. I think technically speaking, in terms of writing and direction, Winter Soldier may be the best, like the most well made of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is done in a much more serious tone than a lot of them. It's much more of a political thriller, I guess you would say. Like, yeah,
with the whole, like, Robert Redford stuff and...
Yes, Robert... I mean, the cast in this one, again, is much more serious, but... I mean, you've got all the typical players, and Chris Evans, Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan in his... I think his first major role here. Like, he showed up in the first Captain America, but...
Yeah.
The Winter Soldier is where he really shines.
Oh, yeah.
And, like you said, Robert Redford's in here. Frank Grillo as Crossbones. Well, the pre-Crossbones. What's his name?
Rob Rummel.
Yeah, there you go. But this movie just has some of the more iconic Captain America... not just Captain America, but some of the more iconic Marvel moments. Last night...
Wasn't Danny Putty in this movie, too? Abed from Community?
Danny Putty in this movie? I mean, you might be right. It's just, I'm forgetting. Yeah, you're right. Holy shit, I forgot he was in this. I totally forgot.
Yeah, he plays just a random, like, tech guy for S.H.I.E.L.D.
I totally forgot that. I completely blanked on that one.
Yep.
And we should probably mention, I mean, Winter Soldier really has a huge effect on the Marvel Universe in that, well, for one, it sets the stage for Civil War, but also it has the reveal of Hydra's undertaking of S.H.I.E.L.D. over the years, and how they've been like basically pulling the strings the whole time.
Kind of sets this whole, like, who can you trust, don't trust anybody thing in motion.
Which is where a lot of the Marvel movies went from there.
Yep.
Civil War, Age of Ultron, even Infinity War still really has that going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a fucking fantastic movie. It plays out more like a Bourne movie than anything.
Yep.
And you got a lot of great action, which I think is definitely a reason you would have that up there. I know you're big on the action.
I am. Yeah.
Less talk, more rock, I guess.
Yep.
And this, I mean, if you're looking for fight scenes, this movie has it. So many of them.
Yep.
Just
we have the elevator scene.
Oh my god, the elevator scene.
We have the getaway scene with Nick Fury where he gets ambushed.
Yep. I love that one.
Which is where we first see the Winter Soldier.
And that is one of the better introductions in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Him stepping out and shooting that magnetic mine onto the bottom of Fury's car and then just sidestepping as the car flips.
And
oh man,
it's a very intimidating, like he has a very intimidating presence.
Yep, for sure.
Like, there are a lot of times in these movies where I'm not that sold on the villains. I mean, Malekith from the Dark World, basically most of the villains in the Iron Man movies, I'm not 100% on them, but the second Winter Soldier appears on screen, I'm just like, oh shit, this guy's for real.
Yeah.
And like a great villain makes you wonder, makes you question how the fuck the hero is actually going to stop them. And Winter Soldier does that.
Yes, for sure. Especially when Nick Fury, air quotes, dies, and Steve's apartment, and Steve starts chasing the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And they bust out on that rooftop, and he throws his shield, like full force throws it.
Yep.
And Winter Soldier just like quickly turns and just casually one hand catches the shield. It's just like, oh shit. Like, I love me that scene. Like, he just catches Captain America's best weapon like it's nothing.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the big moments in the Marvel movies involve Cap's shield.
Yep.
Between this one and Spider-Man and Civil War, and then even the ending of Civil War with the big fist fight and how Cap uses the shield on Tony. There's a lot of shit involving that shield. But
well, it's such a symbol.
Yeah. And speaking of Cap's shield and its symbol, I believe your number 5 is also tying into that conversation.
Yes, because my number 5 was Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, and I had that at where was that? It was pretty low on the list, like number 10, I believe.
Yeah, but like we said earlier about our ability to, we were saying earlier about our ability to sway each other and, make each other look at some of these movies and things a little bit more critically. I originally had Civil War in my top 3. And then after you made your case for ranking it at number 10, I kind of rewatched the movie with a bit more of a critical lens on, and like I said, I've revamped and reworked my list 3 or 4 times, rearranging my top 8.
Yeah.
And I moved Civil War back down to number 5 largely because of the Zemo thing.
Yeah, which was my main issue with it.
Like, I did think it was was worthy of keeping it in the top 5 because not only did it reintroduce Spider-Man, it gave us Black Panther. You start to see the relationship blossoming between Vision and Wanda, and yet they wind up on opposite sides. You have, like, the stuff with Cap going after Bucky, and, like, I know he's in there, like, I can get to him. I did kind of not like Tony at the end, where he's just kind of like, I know this bad guy just said, like, it's all part of his plan, but I'm going to play right into his hands and give him exactly what he wants because this guy, while he was brainwashed, killed my mother X amount of years ago. It's kind of like, alright, Tony. I understand you're upset, but you're supposed to be one of the smartest guys on the planet, supposed to be one of the leaders of this super team, so I would think you'd be able to rationalize this a little bit and kind of be like, he wasn't himself when it happened, and the bad guy literally in front of me just said that this is part of his plan.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give him exactly what he wants right now and fight my friends. So that kind of bugged me, but like them like bringing Ant-Man in, that was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I did think it was cool though, like even though Zemo was so far from the source material, that just by a lot of planning, an ordinary guy was able to pit the Avengers against themselves. It wasn't the best plan, and it might have been a bit of a stretch, but the fact that it happened, I did think was kind of cool, because a lot of them are looked at as gods, even though the two arguably most powerful, Hulk and Thor, weren't there.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people are still regarded as having like godlike abilities. And it just, seen them knocked off their pedestal a little bit. I was going to say something else, but I just lost it quick as that. The roadie stuff, like, that was like, oh my god, like, even, like, at first you're wondering, like, holy shit, is Rhodey going to die? Then you see him towards the end, and he's in rehab, but seriously fucked up. You know he's going to come back from it because of the resources and whatnot available to Stark and the Avengers, but,
yeah,
you're still wondering, like, what's going to happen with Rhodey. I still can't remember what the other thing I was going to say was. Fuck. If it doesn't come back to me, oh well.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy this movie.
I think...
Fuck, it came back to me and I lost it again quick as that.
I do...
It's early in the morning. I'm still half asleep.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
I do very much enjoy this movie. It's just, I had to look at it a bit more critically after we discussed it.
Question for you.
Yeah.
How high did you have it ranked originally?
2.
Oh, wow. I took it down a few pegs.
Yes, you did. I do still enjoy the shit out of this movie, and I'm probably going to watch it today.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I did take a more critical look at it after our discussion. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. It brought back Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Which kind of made me a bit more hopeful for a solo Hulk film.
Yeah.
Because we see, like, we haven't seen Ross since the second movie of the MCU.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, ends up becoming, well, he's always been a pretty big Hulk villain, but he becomes an even bigger one when he becomes the Red Hulk.
Yeah, and Red Hulk has had quite a few different positions within the Marvel Universe. I believe he was an Avenger at one point.
He was an Avenger. He was a member of the Thunderbolts,
yeah.
I believe. But can you imagine, like, if they did that movie where, because Red Hulk just shows up.
Yeah.
You don't know it's Thunderbolt for a while.
No.
So can you imagine if they did that in a movie where you have Hulk, like, Red Hulk comes in as if he's replacing the Hulk. Like, he's trying to make his case to the Avengers, like, hey, I can replace Green Hulk.
Yeah.
And he's kind of winning them over, but Hulk doesn't trust him. The two of them have it out a few times. A Hulk versus Hulk fight. And then it's not until the, like, third act of the movie that you find out that this is actually General Thunderbolt Ross, someone who has despised the Hulk for years, trying to take his place and everything like that. Like, that would, for people who don't know, like, that could blow their fucking minds.
Yeah.
Which is what I saw on the horizon when I seen him come into Civil War. I was like, okay, so they didn't have to reintroduce this character. They didn't have to bring William Hurt back.
No, they didn't.
So, to me, this just makes me very hopeful of things that could come. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, but I'm hopeful. And that's part of why I like Civil War so much, even with those issues of Zemo and with my issues I have with Tony. It giving us Black Panther, it giving us Spider-Man, it bringing back Thunderbolt Ross, and then, like, at the end of Civil War, we kind of have Zemo doing the same thing Lex Luthor did at the end of Batman vs. Superman.
Okay.
Potentially doing a better job of it, even. You have the main bad guy of the movie captured, and someone kind of being all like, we got you. And then he's just kind of like, but I still kind of win because, you know, I set the blood in the water, the sharks are coming, like, I've showed the world how vulnerable you are. And kind of like how Lex Luthor was like, they've heard me. Kind of like him saying, like, well, I've, you know, set things in motion so that other more powerful things are going to, you know, hear about this and they're going to come looking. Zemo's kind of like, hey, like, I've showed the world how vulnerable the Avengers are. Other people are going to come and follow in my footsteps and try and take you guys down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's kind of done the whole, like, I've made God bleed thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which I think he did a better job of it than Lex at the end of Batman vs. Superman.
Hold up.
Because Lex just seemed unhinged.
Hold up a second here. Are you saying that Marvel did something in their movies and did a better job of it than DC? Because that's an unpopular opinion if I've ever heard one.
I know.
I don't know, man. I'd watch your words there.
I know. Next thing people will be saying, water is wet.
Come on, man. Are you honestly going to tell me that Tony Stark is a better Iron Man than... I can't even think of a comparison. I don't know. I was going to say Ben Affleck, but we're the only ones defending Ben Affleck at this point, so...
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one to shit on him because then there's nobody left.
No.
Yeah.
it'd just be Ben Affleck in front of his trailer mirror being like, "You can do this."
No, he doesn't even defend himself anymore. He's like, "Oh God, get me out of here."
That's true.
Even Ben Affleck is like, "No, I'm a terrible Batman. Hire somebody else." It's literally just the two of us on our little podcast, and probably Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Kevin Smith had said in the past that he would hire Ben Affleck as Jaws.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got the jaw structure for it, so.
Yeah, he was like, I'd fucking make him the shark in Jaws.
I haven't heard that one, but I'm not surprised. So, anything else to add on Civil War?
No, I think we're good to move on from there.
Yeah, I think so. And I touched on most of my points on it in the last episode. I still think that the movie, it's a case of the parts are better than the sum. I like a lot of the scenes from that movie better than the movie as a whole.
Yeah, and I can see that.
I mean, the Spider-Man stuff, just the Spider-Man stuff alone is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ant-Man becoming Giant Man.
Oh my god. That was one thing that was not spoiled for me. Like, obviously I knew Black Panther was there. Obviously I knew Spider-Man was there. I knew a lot about the movie going into it. I hadn't heard a single word about Giant Man, and the second, like, that happened, or I saw it coming, I was just screaming to myself. But
I reacted the exact same way Scott Lang did.
Yeah. Man, Paul Rudd's great.
Paul Rudd is amazing. I'm such a huge Paul Rudd fan, even before he did Ant-Man.
Me too. So, my number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I'm pretty sure we touched on that pretty well. I think I got a lot of my points in there already.
Yeah.
We didn't actually touch on how sad that movie was, and how surprised I was that it was sadder than the first one.
Yeah.
Yondu's death, spoiler alert, was fucking heartbreaking.
Emily and I both cried in the theater. Like, I looked over at my girlfriend, and both of us, like, had to move our 3D glasses and wipe tears away.
Man, so good. So fucking good. I feel like there was something else sad in there. Oh yeah, the whole Ego's plan revealed, and the fact that Ego gave Star-Lord's mother cancer. Like, that's a fucking dark thing for a Marvel villain to do.
Yep.
Yeah, man, Kurt Russell. God damn it. So anyway, I think we've touched on Guardians 2 enough there. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is the first Guardian.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that is my number 1.
I saw that one coming.
Man, that one, that's the only MCU movie to crack, I would imagine, my top 10 movies all time. Not quite 5, but top 10 for sure.
Nice. No, I had a feeling that this one was going to be either number 1 or number 2 for you. I was out last weekend playing Cards Against Humanity with a few people, and someone I'd never met before showed up wearing the Awesome Mix Volume 1
Nice
t-shirt.
Yep.
And as soon as I seen that, the first thing I thought was Ryan.
Yep.
Like, when I see anything for that soundtrack or that movie, I instantly think of you. Because how many times have we talked about that soundtrack?
Man. That fucking movie. Oh, God. I've listened to that soundtrack far too many times.
Exactly.
Something that you... that I've realized the other day, I didn't actually realize about myself, is that Guardians exceeded my expectations. I thought I went in overhyping it a little, because if I'm gonna be honest, I started reading Guardians of the Galaxy comics about 6 months before they announced the movie, because I had heard rumors that they might be making the movie.
Yeah.
So I overhyped it a little. I've read a bunch of Guardians comics, and then I was trying to any of the cast members that were announced that I wasn't familiar with, I went back and watched movies just to familiarize myself. I was very on the up with this movie, and I still somehow, after seeing the trailer, still somehow thought it was going to be a standard Marvel movie, which is bonkers. And
yeah,
when I went into this thing, I was just as soon as I saw the opening scene with Star-Lord dancing to himself is like, that's the moment you're like, oh, this is not a regular Marvel movie at all. And it doesn't change from there at all.
No, it really doesn't. The one minor issue I have with this movie...
How dare you?
is I feel like they could have showed how powerful Ronan is more.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Because, I mean, I've seen animated series and cartoons where, like, the Kree show up at Earth and, like, the Avengers try and, like, take them on, and Ronan just smacks Hulk away like he's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, Ronan's just like, get the fuck out of here, and just, like, backhands the Hulk away from him. As if he was, like, swatting away Cap or someone.
Okay, yeah.
And so then when I seen that Ronan was going to be the villain, I was like, holy shit. Like, this guy is, like, he's a bad motherfucker. But we didn't really get to see Ronan's power on display that much.
No. He is a cool villain, and they did a good job with him, but you're right.
I enjoyed him, yeah.
You don't get to see the full extent of what he can do.
No. And, like, he's a super intimidating presence on screen.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, holy fuck. And, like, especially when he, like, gets his hands on the Power Stone and,
yeah.
The way he starts, like, talking back to Thanos, and Thanos is like, you better be careful, boy. And then Ronan's just like, who the fuck are you calling boy?
Yeah.
Like, when this guy has the balls to talk back to Thanos like that, you know he's a bad motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the only thing I would change about this movie, is that it would show more, it would put Ronan's strength on display a little bit more. And that is the only thing I would change about this movie.
Fair enough.
Other than that, this movie is just pure gold.
Yeah. I wouldn't change a damn thing, man. It's easily one of my favorite movies ever, which is bold for something that only came out 3 years ago, surprisingly. Man, you talked about the soundtrack, but the fucking cast. Have you ever seen in a Marvel movie a group that felt so much like a team? Like, you can say what you want about the Avengers, but I think the Guardians have way more on-screen chemistry.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, who would have thought that fucking Batista would be this funny? Like,
since these movies, I've grown to be such a fan of Dave Batista.
I want that guy in a bunch of shit. His comedic timing is unbelievable. And
like, after I saw him in Guardians, then I saw him in Spectre, the Bond film.
Yeah.
And I got excited about Dave Bautista being on screen in a Bond film, and I never thought I would get excited about Dave Bautista being in a movie.
No,
but
exactly.
He was so good in Guardians that I was just like, oh my god, it's Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
And I owe that to Guardians. And then I was watching interviews with him. I was watching, like, Dave Bautista, like, working out, like, the fact that he trains in jiu-jitsu. I was watching interviews with him where he was talking about his lunchbox collection because the dude collects vintage lunchboxes.
Nice.
Yeah, like, I actually took an interest in Dave Bautista as a person because he was so good in these movies.
Man, I fucking... And even the, like, some of the side characters, I mean, obviously the Guardians are great, but John C. Reilly as part of the Nova Corps...
Oh my god.
Fucking, I mean, and he doesn't even, like, they don't give him the comedic lines that you would normally get with a John C. Reilly role. They play him a little more serious, but he gets to scoff at Star-Lord, and I don't know, it's interesting seeing him on the serious side of the jokes.
Yep.
And I also really like Sean Gunn, as I do not remember, he's one of the, he's like Yondu's,
Avengers.
Yeah, Yondu's right hand.
Oh my god, I can't remember his name either.
Oh man, his name escapes me. But like, I didn't know who he was when I first saw him. I was watching and I was like, holy shit, I think that guy's in Gilmore Girls. And he is. And then I looked it up and I found out that he's the director and writer's brother. And he's a funny guy. Like, I was never a big Gilmore Girls fan. I dated a girl that watched a bunch of it. But whenever this guy showed up on screen, he's very funny. He plays like this odd, quirky character that shows up every now and then, and very funny guy. And then this role was like made for him. Man, I don't know what else to say about this movie other than
Kraglin was his name.
What was it?
Kraglin.
Yeah, there you go. And I mean, he's given a lot more to do in Volume 2. And honestly, I think he's a little funnier in the second one. But
apparently he did the motion capture for Rocket.
Yes, and there are pictures of it, and it is fantastic because Bradley Cooper did all the voice acting, but for the on-set, for the actual filming, you've got Sean Gunn in like this full latex suit, and like there's a picture. Look it up online. It's Sean Gunn in a latex suit sitting next to Dave Bautista in full Drax costume, and it's the scene near the end where he's petting him on the head. And it's so fucking funny. It is just like, you need no words for the picture at all.
He's even doing the motion capture for Rocket in Infinity War.
Yeah, because they're modeling a lot of his a lot of Rocket's movements on Sean Gunn.
Yep.
Fun fact, the motion capture for Baby Groot at the very end of this movie, the infamous Baby Groot dancing in the flower pot scene, that was James Gunn.
Huh.
They put James Gunn got in a room alone with motion cap suit on, wouldn't let anybody watch, and danced, and that's what they used.
Yeah, well, sorry, James Gunn, you are the second best director to have a role in your own MCU movie.
Second best director? Director.
Yep.
Director. What am I missing?
Haika.
Oh, in an MCU movie. Oh, sorry. I thought you said in his own movie. Okay,
No, just MCU.
Yeah, but not the best in a Disney movie because Kevin Smith is the chubby stormtrooper. We got a lot of Kevin Smith love here, man.
I do love me Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah, man. I don't know. Like sometimes a movie just comes along and it hits me the right way. And lately, like the last couple years, it's been more and more often that a movie comes along and it just hits me in the right spots, and it becomes one of my favorites. Within recent years, Kingsman was one of them. What's the other one I'm thinking of here? Kingsman and Baby Driver was another. And Get Out. Like, these movies just come along and I watch them and I'm like, that was just fucking so good. And Guardians, man, Guardians really did it for me.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, this whole MCU has just been building towards the Infinity War.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we saw, like, a little bit of, like, Thanos over the shoulder in Avengers.
Yeah.
But Guardians of the Galaxy, we actually see Thanos. We hear Thanos speak.
Yeah. But isn't it impressive as shit that Marvel managed to, like, at this point, they'd only been doing pretty safe movies.
Yeah.
Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers, the Hulk, and then they're like, we're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy. You don't know any of these heroes. You're not going to know any of the side characters. It's not going to tie into the shit we've been doing, aside from Thanos. And you're not going to know fucking anybody involved here. Are we going to star a big-named actor? No. Here's a guy named Chris Pratt that you don't know yet. And
unless you watch fucking Parks and Rec.
Yeah. I didn't know who he was at the time at all. And now he's one of my fucking favorites. And
honestly, the most familiar I was with from Chris Pratt, I believe, was from Delivery Man.
Me too. Weirdly enough, that's all I had.
We've talked about that movie a lot too.
That comes up way too much. I don't know why it keeps coming up. Maybe.
But then, like, after Guardians, he was in fucking Jurassic World.
Yep, a Lego Movie. Actually, Lego Movie was prior to, but I didn't realize it until after.
Yeah.
And, like, they launched him into superstardom, and Guardians is one of their most popular franchises now. Like,
oh, yeah.
Guardians was so unpopular that even people who read the comics were like, wait, which one was that again? Like, it's impressive. And they managed to do it, like, you would think with all that aside, like, okay, well, it's going to be your standard big budget type of movie. It's not going to be too weird. Nope, it's weird. A lot of weird shit going on here. Howard the Duck shows up at one point.
Yep.
Man, I fucking love this movie. I love this movie so much. Like, this was the easiest decision in my Marvel ranking. It was basically, okay, well, Guardians is number 1. Let me rank the other 15 now.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm gonna stop there now. And that was your number 4, so now it's my turn to talk again. Look at that. But we already talked about this one. My number 3 is Ant-Man. That was your number 8. It's not
8.
Not too far off. I like it a little more than you do by the sounds of it. I don't rewatch movies that much. Ant-Man is one of those movies I go back to. Because it's one of those things that, like, I was hyped up for it because Edgar Wright was originally directing it. There was a falling out there, and basically nothing he did showed up in this movie from the sounds of it. But it's one of those things where Marvel just took a bunch of things that I like. Not all my favorite things, but a bunch of things that I enjoy. And put them in a movie. Like, I like Paul Rudd. I like Michael Pena. I like Michael Douglas. I really like Corey Stoll. I like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I like heist movies. I really like Ocean's 11.
Yep.
They just kind of took the idea of obviously the Marvel superhero format, put a guy I liked in the seat here, and did a movie based on shrinking abilities based around heists. Like, it's a movie it's made for me.
Yep.
And I love it. I always go back to Ant-Man. It's only 2 years old, but I've watched this a fucking dozen times or so, which is a lot for me, because I don't rewatch movies that much. And, we talked about Ant-Man quite a bit. I just had a few points I wanted to throw in there. Did you say your number 3 already?
No, I didn't. And my number 3 is the only movie we haven't talked about yet in the MCU.
Oh, okay. So I wasn't sure if we were gonna have any of the same rankings, and apparently we're not.
Nope.
What's your number 3?
Which I'm kind of glad of.
Yeah. We didn't rank any of the movies in the same spots. Huh.
Nope.
Okay. So, you had?
So, my number 3 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Very, very close. I had it at number 2.
Yep. Oh, where do we start with this movie?
Oh man, well, we did a whole episode reviewing it at one point.
Yep.
But at that point, I hadn't seen it. I think the
more I watch it, the more I like it, and like watching the special features too.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit! Watching special features and watching like Tom Holland do so many of his own stunts and having like input on like the stunts his stuntmen perform, and just like Stan Lee even saying that this kid, like, the poses he hits, like the way he lands on the ground and hits like the Spider-Man pose, is the kind of stuff that Stan Lee pictured when he created the fucking character. Like, Stan Lee even says that this kid is what he always wanted Spider-Man to be.
Yeah.
And we've got Michael Keaton as the villain.
Oh my god. Man.
That scene in the car, when the two of them are, like, when he's realizing who Peter is.
Yep.
That scene is... wow.
I honestly think that scene is one of the best scenes of the year in TV or film.
Yeah.
That is,
I 100% agree.
It's a fucking brilliant scene. There's so much at work, and it's so easy to digest. It's so easy to watch and follow, but there's so much going on.
Yep.
And so many different points of view that the viewers have to take into consideration, but it's not hard. It's not difficult. Man, fuck, that's such a good movie. Like, I think the easiest way to sum this up is Spider-Man is, at least for me, and I believe for you too, one of the greatest superheroes of all time. Yeah. And this is the first time we've had a movie that truly felt like Spider-Man.
Yep.
I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. We've finally got an amazing Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
This only came out like half a year ago.
When I was a kid, like, part of this movie really hit home for me, like, really made me nostalgic, was the part where he's out in the suburbs and there's nothing to swing on.
Yes.
Because as a kid, like before even the first Spider-Man movie was made, we had the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon, and I had Spider-Man comics and things like that, and I used to fantasize about being Spider-Man as a child. But in our small little hometown in Newfoundland with, like, no big buildings and everything's spaced far apart and lots of wind. I was like, he wouldn't be able to swing here.
No.
Like, there's nothing to swing on. And, like, anytime my family and I would go to, like, a bigger city on a trip, like, even downtown St. John's, to a lesser extent, but then, like, when we'd go to Montreal or Toronto or Halifax, places like that, as a child, I would be looking at the buildings. And that was the first thing that caught my attention when I would go to a big city is, like, wow, Spider-Man would be able to swing here.
That's cool.
Like, that was my initial thought anytime I went to a bigger center as a child. Spider-Man could swing here. And then we get this movie where, yeah, Spider-Man does a lot of swinging, but then he ends up out in the suburbs where there's nowhere to swing. And I was just like, man, like, that was me as a kid, like, thinking about this kind of shit. Like, Spider-Man wouldn't be able to swing there. Yeah. And, yeah, that movie just brought me right back to my childhood.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, when I was a child, Michael Keaton was Batman.
Yeah.
So seeing him, like, come down with, like, the vulture wings extended kind of brought me back to, like, seeing him coming down with, like, as Batman with, like, the cape extended gliding down.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, not only was this movie really good, like, you take the nostalgia for me out of it, it was still a fantastic fucking movie.
Yes.
It was funny, the action was good, the shots in some of the scenes were amazing, like, but then you add the nostalgia on top of it, and I was just, whew. The only thing that kept me from putting this movie at number 1 or number 2 was where it's so new.
Yeah.
I was reluctant to give it the top spot because I didn't want to make too hasty of a call on it.
Yeah.
I want to see how it holds up.
That's fair. I honestly, I couldn't think of, besides Guardians, I couldn't think of another movie here that I honestly liked more. Which is crazy because of how much I've watched some of these other movies, but, like, and another thing. So, there's one thing this movie did that we talked about, you revealed it to me in the review, but it is just one of the coolest things that Marvel has ever done. The fact that, to give a little bit of a history lesson here, there was an online push for, like, now, let me tell the story here. Me and Charlotte were recently watching Spider-Man Homecoming as her first time, and every time that Donald Glover scene in the parking garage happened, I smiled to myself like an idiot. And so we're watching it, and it happens, and I smile to myself, and Charlotte's like, okay, what are you smiling about? What stupid shit are you smiling about? So I paused the movie, and I gave the history lesson. And that is, there was a push maybe 5-10 years ago. Everyone online was making a petition for Donald Glover to play Spider-Man in a movie. Yeah. I think this was just before they casted Andrew Garfield, around that time. And so Donald Glover himself was a fan and said, I would love to. And it didn't happen. So comic book writer Brian Michael Bendis took it upon himself to create a black Spider-Man based on Donald Glover and inspired by him. And that's where Miles Morales came from. And now Miles Morales has his own series, and he shows up in the cartoons and the video games, and everyone loves him. I'm a fan. And the fact that they not only put Donald Glover in this movie as a side character, but they let Donald Glover himself be the one to reveal to the world that Miles Morales exists in the MCU.
Yeah.
That is a fucking, like, it's a very, very fucking deep cut, and you've got to go back a ways to find exactly how cool it is, but it fucking warms my heart a little bit, you know? Just that they let him do that. That they let him give the line that reveals, and it's just such a side nod, just I've got a nephew.
Yeah.
Fucking cool, man.
Not everyone is going to know that.
No. But
not everyone is going to know his character was the Prowler. Not everyone was going to know that, he's Miles Morales' uncle.
No. But it's fan service upon fan service, inspired by fan service, you know?
Yeah.
Man. This movie does so much like that, though. To skip through more points here, just because, why not? Let's see, other things I love about this movie. It feels like a John Hughes coming-of-age teen comedy at times.
Yep.
The fact that they managed to put a homecoming dance into the movie that ties into the title without forcing it at all.
Yep.
The fact that you get Vulture, Shocker, 2 incarnations of Shocker, and a very obvious nod to Scorpion in a Spider-Man movie without it feeling bloated at all. Man, this movie just does so much. And the fact that it feels so very New York. Spider-Man is so rooted in Queens, and you really get the sense of his neighborhood. He, like, I guess to be a little on the nose, he really does feel like a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He
has that relationship with his neighbors, like the guy who runs the deli and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I can't give this movie enough praise. And it's not even to shit on the others, except maybe Spider-Man 3. But well, like, that's the thing. With back to the villain thing, Spider-Man movies have a history of putting too many villains in a movie, and the movie kind of falls apart because of that. I mean, they did it with Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, not on the same level, but it would have been better if it wasn't quite as bloated. But this one, you get your Vulture, you get your Shocker, and
the Tinkerer,
and you get nods to Scorpion, and it feels less like we're trying to cram as much as possible, and more like building towards future movies.
Yep.
Man. I don't think I have anything else to touch on there.
No, I don't really have anything to add, because, we've said it all before, and we just summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming is just a great movie.
Yep. Fantastic movie.
Plus, you really should check out the special features if you get a chance.
I will.
Plus, some of the smaller roles in it, like Martin Starr and Hannibal Buress.
Yes. And
Hannibal Buress is hilarious in it. You got the little PSA things with Captain America. Those are good.
Yeah.
You got Kenneth Choi?
Yeah.
Playing, like, his second role in the MCU being the grandson of one of the Howling Commandos, and there's a picture of himself as the Howling Commando he played in First Avenger on the wall in his office.
Here's something we didn't touch on. Ned. Fucking Ned was amazing in this movie.
The guy in the chair.
The guy in the chair, man. And he's so fucking funny. I don't remember the kid's name, and I don't know where he came from, but he's so fucking funny. Like,
oh, he's gold.
Man. It's just everything. Every scene he's in is fantastic. And
you know what? Like, Marissa Tomei was good as Aunt May.
oh yeah, for sure. I know a lot of people kind of laughed at the fact that she's so young and attractive, but fuck it, man.
The woman's like almost 60.
Is she really?
I am going to fact check her age right now.
No way, she's that old. Is she? If she is, she looks fucking great for her age. I mean, but the thing about it is,
52.
Wow, that's
She's
impressive.
going to be 53 next on December 4th.
Yeah, but like
December 4th, Marissa Tomei is going to be 53. So you know what? I think that's a good age for her to be Aunt May.
But here's the thing.
Because, like, Aunt May being, like, 80, like 70, 80,
yeah.
to a high school kid, like, that's a big age gap between his parents and her late husband.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people I saw online made fun of how young Tom Holland looked and how young Aunt May looked in this. But like, do they not agree that Spider-Man was always supposed to be a high school kid? Peter Parker was always in high school.
Yep. Later went to college, but still younger than most superheroes.
Exactly. And Tom Holland is still a man in his 20s, but looks the part. This is the first time he's actually looked like he belonged in a high school. So if you got a kid,
well, I mean, Tobey Maguire looked like he belonged in a high school, maybe like as the janitor or like that weird science teacher.
Yeah, he looked like
who's been there for 15, 20 years.
One of those retired teachers who comes back to substitute one day.
Yeah,
you know. Oh, old granddad Toby.
Yep.
So, like, that's the thing. Like you said, if this guy is supposed to be, I don't know, 16, 17 years old or whatever, how fucking old do you think his aunt is? Like, what kind of family lineage does he have that he has an aunt who is pushing 90? It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't get the criticism at all. This is the first time a Spider-Man movie has realistically portrayed the ages that they always said in the comics. He's in high school. This is his aunt.
Yeah, like, as much as I love the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon, like, you have Peter who's supposed to be, like, finishing high school and starting college, living with his aunt, not his great aunt, just his aunt.
Yeah.
And she looks like the fucking Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, really though. Like, I'm pretty sure the same artist drew both. Yeah. But like, I don't know. And exactly, like, we're not shitting on the old stuff. We love our Spider-Man. We always did. But you gotta laugh at how old they always portrayed her. It didn't make any sense.
She looks like his grandmother most of the time.
She looks like his great fucking grandmother. Like, even realistically, let's just say he was 16, 17. That would put his parents maybe 40s, something like that, between 40 and 50. So that would put their parents at let me see, in the 60s, 70s region. She still looks older than that. Like, she could literally be his great-grandmother based on the portrayals in those old cartoons and comics.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of tangent.
All you motherfuckers hating on Marissa Tomei saying she's too old, she's 53.
Yeah.
That's old enough to be someone's aunt.
Man, I can't believe she's that old. That's impressive.
Yeah. She looks great for a woman of 53.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think she's attractive anyway, but, you know.
I mean, Tony's not wrong.
No.
So, that was quite the tangent spent on Aunt May.
But but it needed to be said.
It did. It needs repeating. So I guess we can quickly list off our top couple, but I think we've really touched on all the points here.
Yeah.
So that was your number 3, my number 2. Your number 2 was Doctor Strange, which we went into a lot of detail about earlier. My number 6.
Yeah.
And our number 1's Guardians of the Galaxy on my end, and Captain America Winter Soldier on your side, right?
That's correct.
So, let's quickly just recap our top 8s. For me, I've got my number 8 is The Incredible Hulk, Captain America the First Avenger at number 7, Doctor Strange at 6, top 5 being Captain America the Winter Soldier at 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at 4, Ant-Man at number 3, Spider-Man Homecoming at number 2, and my number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy.
My number 8 was Ant-Man. Number 7, Age of Ultron. Number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 5 was Captain America Civil War. 4, I had the original Guardians of the Galaxy. 3, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 2, Doctor Strange. Number 1, Captain America the Winter Soldier.
We haven't fully agreed on any of them in a slot. We've had a couple that were one-off.
Very close.
And seems like our biggest disagreements are on the Captain America movies.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. But Civil War and First Avengers. And let's be real, all these movies are better than some of the shit that Hollywood puts out anyway.
Oh, God, yes.
So, that was fun, and I'm glad we did it. We're definitely going to need to update it We're going to need to update this more than once if we keep this podcast going, because these movies are fucking spit out in, like, a month.
Yep.
Now, we're running a little long for time. Again, the Skype ones end up getting pretty long. But I had a fun little thing I wanted to add on here, since we're talking about Marvel.
Sure.
I did this up in my spare time. Now, our last episode of the year, we won't reveal it quite yet, but me and you have been talking about doing something that involved Bean Boozled.
Yeah.
Something that involves us eating either delicious or disgusting jelly beans.
Yep.
So I've got a little game of trivia here. Avengers-based trivia that I made up. 5 questions. And
okay.
What do you say to adding some stakes to this? I'm going to ask you 5 questions. For every one you get wrong, that's 1 extra bean for you in our final episode of the year.
Okay.
For every one you get right, that's 1 extra bean for me.
All right.
What do you think? You game?
I'm always game for something like this.
Okay. Here's a little segment I like to call How Well Do You Know Earth's Mightiest Heroes?
Cool.
It's not based on the characters. I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to have to do with an actor who has played an Avenger in the MCU.
Sure.
Just to help, no villains involved in this, and no Guardians of the Galaxy. So just to help narrow it down a little. And it doesn't...
Just the heroes based on Terra.
What? Yes, yeah.
Just the heroes based on Terra.
Yes. Okay, so, which Avengers' first big break in acting was starring in a soap opera? And you can say the actor's name or you can say the hero's name. It doesn't matter.
I've got 2 in mind. Just flipping a coin in my head, trying to see which one I want to go with.
Yep.
I'm going to say Thor.
Ah, you're right.
I was debating between him and Mark Ruffalo, because Mark Ruffalo looked like someone who could have been on a soap opera as well.
I could see that. So that's one extra bean for me. I hope you're not too good at this. Chris Hemsworth, a.k.a. Thor, played the role of Kim Hyde in an Australian soap opera called Home and Away. He appeared in 171 episodes.
What?
Oh yeah, 171 episodes. 3 years on a soap opera.
Jesus.
He was in this soap opera up until 2007. So, not that long ago.
No.
Number 2 is a very surprising fact I came across. Probably the most serious of these questions. Which Avenger was once abducted and held at gunpoint?
Which Avenger was abducted and held at gunpoint?
Yes, in real life.
Whew.
Yeah.
Fuck. Were you about to say something?
Nope. All you.
Okay, I just heard a bit of feedback.
Okay.
Shit. I kind of want to say Robert Downey Jr. because of his shady past. Maybe Scarlett Johansson?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with ScarJo.
Incorrect. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Really?
Along with 2 of his friends, was kidnapped and held at gunpoint while in South Africa back in 2005. Apparently, the abductors held them overnight and then freed them with no explanation whatsoever.
Wow.
I know. Good guess though. So we got one bean each. We're fine here.
Okay.
This is another interesting one. Which Avenger has a music career including a debut album consisting of almost entirely covers by one artist? A music career, and their first album was almost entirely just covering one artist. Also, feel free to play along at home.
Again, I have 2 people. I keep narrowing this down to 2 people in my head, and then tossing a coin mentally as to who I want to guess. This one, I either want to say Mark Ruffalo or Don Cheadle.
Huh.
I'm gonna go with Ruffalo.
Incorrect again on this one. You had it right the last time. It was Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, really?
She has 2 studio albums. The first one, titled Anywhere I Lay My Head, has 11 tracks. 10 of them are covers of Tom Waits songs.
Really?
And that album features a guest appearance by David Bowie.
Shit.
Random as shit.
Yeah.
So you're at 2 extra beans, I'm at 1.
I kind of pictured, Don Cheadle being a bit, bluesy or jazzy with it.
I could see that. And
yeah.
he did play Miles Davis in the biopic of him.
Yeah.
I thought you were maybe going to guess Jeremy Renner, because Jeremy Renner is a hell of a good singer. And I think he's done a bit of music as well.
Yeah. I don't know why Renner never popped in my head at all.
Okay, I got 2 more here, and these are fun. This one's very interesting. Pay close attention to the date here. Which Avenger was a drama instructor up until the point where they moved to LA to pursue acting for the first time in 2008? Someone, an Avenger who did not actually pursue acting until the same year Iron Man came out, and were instead a drama instructor.
Jesus. I'm just trying to think, like, movies that these people were in that would have came out, prior to that date. So it's not Renner, not Cheadle.
Mm-hmm.
Not Robert Downey Jr., obviously.
Yeah, well.
Chris Evans was in Not Another Teen Movie.
Yep.
You just said that Thor was in a sitcom up until 2007.
Yeah, yep. Maybe I left a trail here, maybe.
Ruffalo was in what?
He's in a couple things.
What?
I said he was in a few things.
Renner's in SWAT. Not Paul Bettany, is it?
Is that your guess?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Nope. Chadwick Boseman, a.k.a. Black Panther.
Fuck.
Isn't that crazy, though? He didn't pursue acting till 2008?
That is crazy.
It's fucking insane. Now he's Black Panther. Not to mention he was in the Jackie Robinson movie and that movie about fucking James Brown.
Yep. So 2008 he began pursuing acting, and 2018, 10 years later, he has his first starring role in the MCU.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was a drama instructor at the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem, New York. So,
wow.
It's pretty fitting that he's Black Panther.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more for you. See if you can get some better luck, maybe even out the bean distribution here.
Yeah. I started off good, and then I just kind of shit the bed after that.
Okay. Which Avengers' first two credited appearances are an educational science video and modeling work for a board game? Like the
Jeremy Renner.
What?
Jeremy Renner.
You sure?
Wait. Don Cheadle.
No, this is Chris Evans, man.
Fuck.
I thought the educational science video would maybe lean you in.
No.
Chris Evans, his first two credited appearances are Biodiversity, Wild About Life, and he modeled for the character Tyler in Hasbro's Mystery Date.
Really?
Yeah, which is funny because I looked it up and I actually remember seeing this board game. He's right on the cover, like talking on a cell phone or some shit.
I'm gonna Google that now.
It's pretty funny that he appeared in an educational video that early, and then Homecoming sort of brought that back in a little bit.
You type Mystery Date into Google, and the first two suggestions are Mystery Date Game and Mystery Date Tyler.
There you go. People know what they're looking for.
Yep, there he is. Along with a 56-second video of him and Jeremy Renner laughing about it.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I have to eat 4 extra beans and you have to eat 1.
To be fair, now this video, Jesus Christ, video. This episode, we're recording on November 30th. It won't be released till next week. So between this one and our final episode of the year, there will be one more. So if you wanted to quiz me, maybe we could even the odds a little. If you feel so inclined.
I might start working on that.
Yeah, we know the topic. We're gonna surprise all you with it.
Okay, I got some brainstorming to do.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't backfire and give you like 9 extra beans. Although I don't know if I'm that good.
Brian runs the train on my trivia questions, and I just have to eat an entire pack of Bean Boozled.
You know what? Let's reveal what we're doing with the Bean Boozled.
Okay.
We won't have to talk about the episode itself. The episode's going to come out around Christmas. Topic to be declared. End of our first year podcasting here. And the idea is that each of us is going to have a secret word that we're gonna choose prior to the episode. And we're going to keep a tally of how many times the other person says this word, and that is the amount of Bean Boozled jelly beans we're gonna have to eat at the end of it. So it could be fucking brutal. We'll set some guidelines and rules. I'm sure there will be some words that are off limits because I guess if
they're too common.
If or fuck are one of them, I mean, we won't be able to find enough beans.
Yeah.
And I think once again we've reached our longest episode ever.
Yep.
So on that note,
constantly reaching new lows.
Yeah. That's what we strive for here at Jedi Dropouts.
Yep.
How low can you go? I guess that's all the time we've got for today.
Yep.
Thank you once again for listening to another thrilling hour or two, or however fucking far we've got in here, of Jedi Dropouts. You can always listen to more episodes of Jedi Dropouts if you feel like punishing yourself over at www.jedidropouts.podbean.com or on Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play. I got them all. I almost forgot them. Or you can go give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And I guess thanks for dropping by.
Something, drop out.
Later.
Peace.